Hello and welcome. This is Lavender Haze with a video depicting yet another estranged mother expressing her unhinged views. This time on how us estranged offspring rewrite our own histories, apparently just to make them out to be the villain. Seriously. It's yet another example of the main reason why we initiate low contact and eventually have to go fully estranged. Because our parents don't believe us when we speak. If they don't remember it how we say it, then it just didn't happen. Their recounting is the only one that's correct. Forget the fact that every one of us remembers things completely different than one another because we each have our own experiences that created the lens that we see the world through, including children. We remember the things that happen to us the way they happen to us because it impacted us. We don't make poo up about anything just to make you out to be the villain. Why would we do that? I'd like the parents to remember that you will remember things differently because you have your own lens based off of your own experiences. Not to mention that they probably don't even remember all of the harm that they've done to us because it didn't affect them the way it affected us. So I feel that it's in part that the parent didn't feel our pain, which is what the brain will most likely remember. And the reason the brain does this is for protection methods. We remember the bad to keep us safe from it again. I think that it might also be in part that their own brains refuse to remember things accurately because it would be such a hit to the ego that it would almost feel like the world was ending. They can't be wrong. Their brains won't let them. Once again, Charlie Brown Girl shows the typical estranged parent's perspective in this. Now, I also want to point out that I know that not all estranged parents feel the same way and are willing to figure out what they can do to make things work if they get the chance. It's those parents that I hope to reach with these kinds of videos. This way, you can learn the offspring's perspective. I believe that learning the perspective of someone going through a similar situation as the person that you're trying to understand can be a huge help. If you want your offspring back in your life, you need to think about how they are feeling and what they believe happened, so that this way you can both communicate in an open and adult way. Believe us when we speak to you. We do not make poo up just to look good. We just don't do that. We want you to believe us, to understand us, and work with us to make changes so we can all be happy together. Unlike what this influencer wants. She wants you to believe that they are perfect, that the parents did absolutely nothing wrong, and everything is apparently because of the lies that we made up just to hurt them. And for absolutely no reason. Like, she just wants them to remain stuck exactly where she is. Insane.
Estranged parents, brace yourself. Because this truth is brutal, but it's yours to claim.
She says things like that all the time. If it's not the truth will be brutal, then it's usually something that nobody talks about. It's literally just a way to draw people in. You'll notice that she is very scripted and chooses her words very carefully. Now, just so you know, I have absolutely nothing against people who script. I script my videos because I need to in order to get the words from my brain to my mouth most accurately. I have a processing disorder, which makes it difficult for me to speak my mind on the spot. It's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of get envious of people who can do that. But anyway, I don't have a problem with anybody scripting for any reason. It's perfectly valid. We all do videos differently. Now, what bothers me with her is that she does this so she can have the highest impact on our audience as possible. And in doing so, convince these parents that we, the offspring, are vile for the things that we do to protect ourselves. It's dishonest.
If your adult child has rewritten their childhood and painted you as the villain, here's the hard reality. They will never tell the truth. Never.
Here's the hard reality. See what I mean? The worst thing about this is that she's lumping every single estranged relationship into just one container, when in reality, each individual has its own room full of containers, full of what happened to them. We are not all the same. So, what she says here absolutely cannot apply to all people. But she words it as if it does. Now, of course, I can't speak for everyone, but I know I can speak for some of us. We're finally coming to you and being honest with how you make us feel. And we do that so that we can work on these things with you. We are finally going to you about the things that hurt us, but it has to be a lie just because you can't remember it. Right?
Why? Because every lie they told has an audience. Coworkers, partners, family members, friends, social media influencers.
Oh, the irony! She is literally a social media influencer with her own audience that believes everything she says. Isn't that why she's here? So that she can be believed by strangers? This woman needs as many people on her side as possible, even if it means telling her own truth that would be considered lies to her offspring. Or, smear campaigning. We go to our partners, friends, and what family members who actually believe us over the things that they have been told by our parents. Quite frankly, we do this because we are sick and tired of being considered a lying storyteller.
Everyone that believes their story.
You mean like the 1,500 plus people who, I don't know, believe your story? We all have our believers. Just saying.
I'm just saying.
Now, I can say for myself at least, I don't hate my mother. I miss her. I miss her and wish that she could be what I need from a mother, but she can't. Even then, I still love her. I'm just the type of person that has a hard time hating other people. Even those like this, who try to make myself and other estranged offspring look bad, just so that they can feel good about themselves. I don't know, I just can't bring myself to hate them. I think it might be more because why can't they set themselves aside, just for a moment, even, to listen and believe their own offspring? I can't help but wonder, why are these kinds of parents unable to set themselves aside just for a moment and, believe your offspring? I don't get it because it's so easy to me. But for some reason, those like this woman can't get past their own egos to think of their offspring first.
Coming clean would make them look bad, and they can't risk that. And you didn't make them lie. You didn't force them to weaponize their memories. They created this narrative themselves. Their audience, their version, their demise.
Their audience, their version, their demise. My goodness, so dramatic. Our own, version of our lives will lead us to our demise? Ooh, I am so scared. So scared that I'm laughing. No, our so called audience are the people that finally believe us. Those people are our family, not our blood relations. Just because we have the same DNA and all that. I'm sure most of you have heard the phrase, blood is thicker than water. Well, there's actually a much longer version of this that this butchered version came from, and it makes a whole lot more sense. It goes, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That means that the blood that we choose to have in our covenant, family, is much thicker than any bond than the water of the womb, aka blood relations. Just because you birthed us, it doesn't mean that we will have a close bond. That's up to the parent. It is up to them to foster a close relationship with their children, and will then inevitably teach them, your child, how to make good friends, safe friends. Us estranged offspring had to either luck out with our friends or had to teach ourselves what friendship actually looks like on our own. Because we don't just innately know how to be friends with people. We learn that from our families. I was one of the people that lucked out with my friends. Growing up, they were literally the only people that kept me sane while living with my bully of a family. Speaking of, I doubt my family would appreciate me calling them a bully, and then would therefore call me a liar, even though all they did was tease me until I cried. Bullying. They literally taught me by doing that it was okay to be made the butt of the joke, that it was okay to be made fun of. Family should never teach you that. And family most certainly should not be your first and sometimes only bully.
And here's the part most parents don't realize: none of it is your fault.
Whatever you need to tell yourself to sleep at night.
So stop apologizing for their story. Stop trying to fix their perception. You cannot control what they show the world. All you can do is protect your own truth, your peace, and your life.
So I'm pretty sure she said life at the end there, just before I cut her off. But to me, it sounded so much like she said lie. It's almost as if she's subconsciously telling on herself by saying it in such a way. Just saying.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, no, don't stop apologizing. But please do stop apologizing with just your words. Words are empty without action to back it up. A real apology includes actual change so that you don't keep hurting the other person. And yes, please stop trying to fix our perception. This isn't yours to change, just like it's not ours to change yours. All we can do is go to you with our perspectives and hope that you love us enough to understand, even if you don't agree, but you'll still make the changes around them anyway, just because you love them. To the estranged parents that may stumble across this video, I ask you to ask yourself if you are willing to set aside a part of yourself to make room for us. Can you believe us, even though you have your own values, point of views, memories, all that jazz? Are you able to respect us enough to stop doing or saying things simply because we requested it of you, even though you're our parents? Because that shouldn't matter. Within reason, of course. My family would tease me until I cried, no matter how much I asked them to stop. None of them respected me for being a little bit more sensitive than they are. And instead, they called me a baby. Or would say, "Oh, lavender," when I felt the need to run away from those meanies. It was as if I was the problem simply for having feelings. That's floofed up.
The lies are theirs. The consequences are theirs. And the freedom, that's yours.
First of all, just because our truth doesn't line up what you believe your truth to be, doesn't mean we're lying. And secondly, our estranging is you dealing with the consequences of your actions. Ignoring us all those times we came to you and deciding to do what you wanted around us anyway. Now, as for that freedom, of course, you have the right to claim it all you want. However, I feel that if you're stuck in your disdain for your offspring, and no, to me that doesn't feel very free. But that's just my own thought on that. Personally, since I've mourned the parents that I wish I had, I finally feel free to be the person that I am. Honestly, nowadays I mostly only ever think about them when I do these videos. Otherwise, I'm living my life. Doing things like writing, various different hobbies like video games, which my mother conveniently mocked every time I went to visit her. I was never the one that brought it up. I would intentionally never bring this up around her because I know her view on gamers. Yet she would inevitably bring it up. No, it seems to me that she would constantly bring it up around me because she knew that I enjoy playing video games. Otherwise, why bring it up randomly? It never made sense to me. But of course, I don't know for certain if this is true because I'm not in her head. So yeah, not only did I not know how to set a boundary with her to stop talking about gamers around me, because I've always been afraid to openly admit around her that I am a gamer. I guess you could say I was a closeted gamer. And that was because of her. I couldn't be who I was, a person who enjoys playing video games, whenever I was around her, because then I would just be met with really heavy judgment.
Own it. Breathe it. Live it. And don't chase them, trying to remind them of the truth. The truth has a way of being found, no matter what. Not the villain, just the parent. And you're not alone. I'll catch you at the next one.
Great job, Charlie Brown girl. Yes, you're right. Please do not chase us. And definitely don't try to change our own truths. You don't have the right. Once you have worked on yourself, learned of your own mistakes, learned how to take accountability for those mistakes, then, and only then, is it okay to try with them again. Now, I know not all estranged offspring have left their doors open even a crack, but I bet you, the parents, that you wouldn't have to chase them very hard if they have left that door open for you, even just a smidge. Personally, I've left my door simply unlocked for them. They still don't have access. They need to knock before they come in, but they still have a way to access me. Everyone makes mistakes, especially parents. And it's those parents who are able to accept those mistakes and openly talk to their adult offspring as the adults we are. It's only them who will be able to initiate repair. Because then we feel like we matter. We feel heard, understood, respected. These are things we should teach our children while they're children. And I don't understand why we don't. Now, I'll admit that you're not entirely wrong in that we feel that you are the villain. A few videos ago, someone left a comment saying that these kinds of parents make them think of cartoon villains. I laughed. It was so accurate. Honestly, I could even narrow it down to say that they are just like Disney villains. They are hilariously identical in their villainy. Very similar to Disney's silly villains, who are all represented with emerald green, and every one of them calls everybody fools. It's a bit ridiculous. To me, this just means that you are terrible villains, and all with similar values that turn them against their kids. Kind of like the evil queen. You treat us like poo in childhood, enslave us with chores and, not afraid to slap us, aka hit us, when we do something you don't like. And then you expect us to worship the very ground that you walk on in adulthood? Apparently, we can't rise above you, or you'll just do everything in your power to knock us back down. Because we're not allowed to be equal? It's only when you're able to accept your mistakes, take accountability, and also realize that we are now adults, and you need to respect us as such, will you finally become the Regina of the evil queens. The evil queen from the TV show Once Upon a Time will be able to see you as kinder, more open, and best of all, happier and with your offspring. But this is the perspective of just one estranged parent. But like I said earlier, she is a social media influencer. The hypocrisy. So she has a following. Let's see what her audience has to say in response. D says, I'm not sure where my freedom is with her lies about me. No one that knows me believes their lies about me, but I still don't feel free. Maybe the reason that this person doesn't feel free is because they know deep down inside that their offspring are not telling lies. Right now, your mind, or rather your ego, isn't letting you see that your offspring are in fact telling you the truth, but simply in a way that they remember it, not you. Like I said earlier, you will remember the same things differently, and most likely assumed you were right just because you were the adult at the time. I'm not entirely sure if this is an actual reason, but it's a theory of mine.
I've got a theory, it could be Bonnie's.
But you need to know that just because we were kids at the time, it doesn't mean we're altering the truth now. We're just finally able to articulate our memories now that we're adults. The thing these sorts of parents seem to forget is that there's actually a third truth. The real truth, that is some sort of combination or assortment of both truths. Nobody's lying. Well, at least we're not. We just wish you'd believe us now. My mother has always believed me to be a liar, even as an adult. But it turns out this whole time, she was lying to me, and she admitted as much by telling me that while we were trying to figure things out, all she was doing was telling me what she thought I needed to hear. So it makes me wonder, are you the ones actually lying to yourselves to make yourselves feel better? Red Devil 11 responds, by dropping the burden of their lies, guilt, or shame, it gives you freedom to be confident by giving yourself credit for the good parent you were. And of course, Charlie Brown Girl has to chime in. Yes, hundreds, claps, 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 claps. These kinds of comments are really disappointing to me. They are telling the other person that there is no way that they made any mistakes and that they shouldn't be working on themselves. So therefore, they don't need to work on themselves. Instead, they should pretend that their world is full of sunflowers and daisies and never work on themselves. They should just go on to pretend to be happy because they don't have the ability to look inward and see that their lives could actually be a million times better. And they could truly be happy. Moving on to the next comment by Housewife. I never expected to be a hero as a parent, but I never thought I'd be painted as a villain. I do know that some of us do believe our parents to be the villain. Some offspring have been treated badly to the extreme. I covered a story from r/estranged adult kids whose parents were truly villainous. They starved their child, punished them as cruelly as possible, and floofed with their minds so much they thought it was perfectly normal, as any child would in that position. We have to normalize abuse as children for at least a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we just don't know any better. We think it's normal. We think everyone is treated like that. And secondly, our child mind needs to believe that other children goes through this and that their parents do these things because they love them. They literally have to do this to protect themselves, and it's awful. It's a sure way to really mess up a child as they grow into adulthood. When we're children, we don't usually think of you as a villain, like that starved child in that Reddit post. Now that we see that some of what you did to us messed us up and was villainous, as you put it, we simply want an apology and actions made now to support your apology. So basically, in short, we didn't make you the villain. You made yourselves the villain. On to the next comment. Anna G says, I don't think they do lie. I think it's their truth. Whoa. Hold up. Did we actually find someone who sees how it really is? No way. Of course, Charlie Brown Girl had to respond to this one. Their truth does not mean truth. Facts can't be manipulated like perception can, and perception is not reality or fact. Ooh, the slapback. I feel like Miss Charlie Brown Girl here is showing her angry side. I very much dislike this woman. She's not wrong, but why is it our truth that's manipulated perception, while their truth is fact? Make it make sense. Ooh, we got a response from Anna G to Charlie Brown Girl. Memories are tricky and can be planted with the wrong therapist. Floof! I thought she understood. It's not us telling lies. Apparently, it's the wrong therapist that implants fake truths? Floof that, Poopy! Dang it, I was so excited to see someone with common sense in these comments. But then she says this. Well, poo. Moving on. On to the next comment. Clow says, dealing with this with some of my kids, it's sad to see how they can lie so easily when it's not what I raised them doing. I always told my kids that what's done in the dark will be brought to light, so no matter how much they lie, the truth always comes out. My kids dislike me for doing my best as a parent because I set rules and was only trying to protect them. Now they don't like me, and I'm having a hard time with that. Oh my God. I always told my kids that what's done in the dark will be brought to light. No fluff and poopy, Sherlock. That's exactly what's happening right now to you, Clow. You can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The truth that you messed up and your offspring finally figured it out. So you make them out to be liars. It's your ego that believes that what you did in the dark is actually your light. In case that doesn't make sense, I'll say it plainly. It's your bull poopy that is coming to light, and it's you that can't deal. It's parents like this that I really wish I could just knock some sense into. Or rather, knock the ability for them to look inwards. They're so closed off that they keep themselves stuck. And being active in a community like this will only encourage them to stay closed and in the dark. Of course, Charlie Brown Girl has to respond. Stand strong. Stay the course. Million heart smiley faces. Clow responds back with a thank you, only for Charlie Brown Girl to come back with a million more heart smiley emoji faces. Stand strong. Stay the course. So, in other words, stay stuck and don't help yourself. Stay the course and never learn the ability to repair relationships or even, how to be happy. Let's stay miserable together forever. Typical. Also, Charlie Brown Girl really seems to like those hundos and smiley face emojis. It's kind of annoying. It makes me think of an MLM. Is it just me or is she trying to sell something here? Because using emojis excessively like that tells me that you're being fake. How about you? Do you use emojis excessively like this? How do you feel about others using emojis excessively like this? To me, it's like a hype method. A way to grab attention and make the other person feel good. Which then keeps them even more stuck because of the ego boost. Alright, last comment for this video is by Irish Eyes. They will have to lie for the rest of their lives. That's why they will not come back to us. My son's neighbors came to me and said, "We was asking your son how you was, as I haven't seen you at his house for a long time." Not entirely sure what kind of accent this person actually has. It just felt like that's how it should be read. Apparently, my son told them that I was fine and busy at work. So, he's embarrassed to say he has gone no contact with me. So shameful. No, Irish Eyes. I can almost guarantee that your son didn't tell his neighbor that he was estranged from you, not out of embarrassment to say so, but because it's none of his neighbor's damn business. Think about it. It's almost like asking a stranger if they're pregnant, only to find out that they hold all of their weight in their stomach. It's you that looks like the poop hole, right? You just don't ask that. His neighbor should have respected your son and not even asked. Or at least if they did, ask out of genuine concern, not gossip. If it was true concern, the neighbor never would have shared it with this mother. They were being nosy. I find it shameful that there are people out there like Irish Eyes who think that it's shameful to keep your life to yourself. Floof off. Charlie Brown Girl responds, exactly. Lies only build more lies to cover the lies. What an exhausting way to live. No, thank you. And of course, Irish Eyes agrees with Charlie Brown Girl. It's sad. All they seem to be able to do is call our memories of our own lives lies, when all they're doing is lying to themselves to make themselves feel better. It's not useful validation. It's empty and keeps you stuck. Charlie Brown Girl says it's an exhausting way for us to live. The projection. I can only imagine how exhausted this woman is by trying to convince herself that she is the only one in the right, that she is infallible and can do no wrong and make up no lies. It's sad how many parents there are out there that feel that we, the offspring, are lying, rewriting our own histories. I still don't understand what the purpose of rewriting our histories is. Why would we make you out to be the bad guy if you never did anything wrong? If we were already in a good place? That just doesn't make sense. Why would a therapist try implanting memories? That argument doesn't even make sense. Because the goal of therapy is to no longer need therapy. Well, this question goes out to any estranged parents who may have made it this far. I would like to ask, why do you believe that your offspring is making this stuff up if you had such a good relationship to begin with? I don't understand why someone would do that. What's the point? If you could help me understand this, I would really appreciate it. My own mother hasn't come right out to me and told me that I'm rewriting my history, but she doesn't have to. She does this by not believing the things that I tell her, even when it has nothing to do with estrangement. To her, I have always been a liar. I guess once a liar, always a liar, and a believer that everyone else is a liar. Know what I mean? Like I said earlier, my mom told me straight up that she was lying to me. So, of course, I started wondering, why start lying now if you're not a liar? I don't know, maybe these estranged parents need to double check themselves. Chances are incredibly high that there were many truths your offspring told you that you believed were lies. And I believe that's because your parents convinced you that you were a liar as a child. So you believe all children are liars. In other words, you are perpetuating the emotional abuse that your own parents conditioned you with. I really feel sorry for those who can't look inward and learn that their childhoods were not good. And it's that, the perpetuation, that we are estranging from. Because they can no longer be honest with themselves. And we can't stay around people who think we are liars simply because they are liars. Just an FYI for everyone, just because you are good at lying, it doesn't mean that everyone is. Not one single person thinks just like you. So you can't claim to know for a fact if they are lying or simply see things differently. Stop assuming. You do know what assume means, yeah? It makes an ass out of you and me. So stop making an ass out of yourself and, by association, us. These videos are exhausting. It's almost like my brain just doesn't want to compute that this is actually how these parents think. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give the thumbs up a gentle boop and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Also, please share with those you believe could use seeing a video like this, be it parent or offspring. It's my hope to reach as many as possible so us offspring can know that we're not alone and what we went through was not okay. While the parents can learn the perspective of an estranged offspring and learn what they could possibly do to repair. Alright, what are all of your thoughts? Do you believe that the estranged offspring are rewriting our histories? Or do you believe that the parents are keeping themselves stuck with this mentality? Let's get a conversation going. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, with love. Like the 1,500 plus people who follow you? Why am I pointing that way? You over there? Their demise. Own it. Breathe it. Live it. Irish eyes to Charlie Brown. Alright. Mouth is not mouthing. And learn that their own childhoods weren't so good. Thanks, Dusty. I didn't lose my eye. I didn't lose my eye. Thank fuck.